Christians, here's another infantile understanding expressed in this comment when it comes to the Word of God. This person says that it is clear that the law of Moses required obedience, which factored into forgiveness. And that if not, he says even Moses would have been lost. No, look, Moses was not lost. And your logic concluding that he would be, having to do with obedience to the law, would imply everything that is contrary to the scriptures, which is that anyone who is saved must be saved by grace through faith. And that includes Moses. It goes back as far as Adam and Eve. Salvation has been the same since the beginning of time. All of us, every Old Testament saint, every New Testament saint, every believer, period, Jew or Gentile, regardless of when they were born, if they are saved by faith. The forgiveness that they receive is a result of having faith in Messiah, whether to you he was coming or whether to you he has already been here, meaning Old Testament saint or New Testament saint. Not one single person was saved for keeping the law. Not even Jesus could be said that he was saved by keeping the law, even though he kept the law perfectly as a man, kept it perfectly. But Christ was not a sinner. Christ wasn't paying for his own sins. So therefore, he would have no need in his person of salvation, as some have asserted, which is why I bring it up, even though it's a really silly assertion. But the idea that anybody was forgiven under the old covenant because of keeping the law is a lie, which is why in Hebrews chapter 11, Moses is listed among the faithful who were saved because of their faith, not because of their obedience to the law. Anyone who is saved by obedience to the law in this regard. We are saved because Christ was obedient to the law, and his righteousness and law keeping was imputed to the accounts of all of those who believe, which Moses did believe, just like David and Job and Samson and Elijah and Elisha and so forth. So I know that you think you're being profound and deep, but you're not. If you knew anything about the Word of God, you would understand this one thing. When Christ came and died on the cross, at that moment in time, not only did he die to save the souls of those who would follow in belief after his death, burial, and resurrection, but also to declare at that very same time the righteousness that has been obtained by the saints of old, including Moses, Job, and all the Old Testament saints. It was the death of Christ that declared now their righteousness that they obtained back then because of their faith in him back then. So I suggest taking another look. Just consider. Look at this verse and see what this means, and you will understand how Moses was saved. He was saved by Jesus Christ. And the salvation of Moses and the righteousness that Moses had was declared to be genuine because of the death, burial, and resurrection of Jesus Christ, who would come and die in Moses' future. Abraham, Jesus said about Abraham that Abraham rejoiced to see his day and did and was glad. Moses was dead centuries before Christ came. Or Abraham was dead, and Moses, frankly, were dead centuries before Christ came. And yet it was he who saved them. And he declared their salvation in him by his death on the cross when it came, when it happened. Go study this verse, and hopefully it will make sense to you. And you'll stop saying silly things like this. Be provoked. Be persuaded.